Hello everybody, Bad Weather Freak here again with another video. Quick update, not a whole lot going on for us here in the Atlantic, but nevertheless we're getting ready for the action basically as we approach the month of August. Now depending on the season, sometimes the month of August is very busy, but the peak is in mid-September. So I'm going to show you a graph that is going to reflect that we are going to potentially see definitely some activity starting mid-August through September. And that's typical any year, but with everything going on, all the different forecasts and all the patterns aligning for a busy season, it looks like it's shaping to be for activity to start ramping up as we get closer to the peak of the hurricane season. Now, what you guys are seeing right now is a satellite imagery of the whole Atlantic and part of the Pacific. As you can see, not a whole lot happening in the main areas where storms usually develop. A good wave actually leaving the coast of Africa. Now the Pacific, on the other hand, has been very busy. Multiple hurricanes have actually formed, some of them even major hurricanes, and that's probably what you're seeing also here in the corner, the left corner of the screen, and it's another storm that is basically intensifying in the Pacific. But here for us in the Atlantic, other than this area of activity, thunderstorm activity that is leaving the coast of Africa, not a whole lot happening, which is okay. We don't want anything major happening. But let me show you the graph that I was talking about. This here, again, green means activity, favorable conditions. Brown means no. And this is a perfect example why this is not set in stone. This, if you look at the cursor here, let me actually use the pen. But here, this is brown, as you can see, and that's the Pacific. And if we go back to the satellite imagery, this is where we have the storm. Like, look over here, this part of the screen. So the fact that this chart is revealing or showing that not favorable conditions are here doesn't mean that we're not going to get any kind of activity. But green means go, in a sense, means favorable, storms should form. Now the further down we go into time, this is in the future, so roughly around mid-August to late August, that's when we should start seeing some activity. You start seeing green everywhere. You don't see like any brown anywhere, just about anywhere. So that's when we potentially are going to start seeing the activity start ramping up. Now, if you guys remember, 2017, we didn't have any significant storm until Hurricane Harvey, and that was about the same week, about the third week of August. So again, I'm not saying we're going to have a repeat of 2017, but it's possible. It's very possible. Now let's look at our other things. Let's take a look at the analysis here. Now in this chart here, what you guys see is Nino 3.4. Again, the plus means El Nino, 0 is neutral, La Nina is a negative. And as you can see throughout the months, since May, we have been just going up slowly to the more of a neutral phase. Now until mid-July, that is starting to dip again, and it continues to dip. Now this is important because the more negative it goes, I mean the stronger La Nina is. Now this here is important, but again, August, September, October, those are the 3 months that are the most important, because that's normally when the majority of the tropical activity happens. So we have to keep an eye on that if it keeps dipping and more or of a stronger La Nina during the peak of the hurricane season. So let's go back here again. Very warm temperatures happening, so you can see Gulf of Mexico, Western Caribbean, the whole Caribbean. The part that is still a little not as warm is basically the main development region area where you see the 25s and some part of the coast of Africa. If this gets warmer, again, that's another indication that we're gonna have a busier season than normal. But everything is pretty much going according to schedule. Let's take a look at the forecasting models. So let's see if the forecasting models are showing anything. So let's move into the future. So you can see this is the GFS. A lot of precipitation, but really nothing forming. The European model, same thing. We go to the future, not developing anything. The Canadian model, nothing. And then one more, the Navy, nothing. So we're not expecting anything for the next week to 10 days, apparently. But of course, everything can change. This is not set in stone. Now let's take a look at the current storms. This is Tropical Storm Frank in the Pacific. Now Tropical Storm Frank, if you guys are in the Pacific or maybe any of the islands, again, usually the storm is going to nowhere, so they don't affect anything. But nevertheless, let's talk about a little bit about Frank because this is forecasted to become a hurricane. So Tropical Storm Frank, this is at 4 o'clock in the morning, Central Time advisory. It has winds of 40 miles per hour, moving west at 9 miles an hour. So let's go back to the spaghetti models. Very, very tight cluster here of the spaghetti models. So they're pretty much saying, yeah, we're in agreement. This is going pretty much in the same spot, not affecting anybody. And then let's take a look at the intensity forecast. So it's definitely, all the models are saying pretty much, the majority of them are saying, hey, this is going to become a hurricane. So looks like definitely it's going to become a hurricane. Some models actually even making it a major hurricane or close to a major hurricane. So again, not affecting anybody, but nevertheless, if you're in the vicinity, if you're in a boat or something or plane, definitely want to avoid this area. So let me go back. Let me see what else can I show you guys. Right now, there's not a whole lot, like I said, going on. So let's take a look at this here. I really like this chart as well. This is another chart that tells us if the atmosphere conditions are favorable for development or not. As you can see, I mean, it looks like a mess, but basically what this is, we have Puerto Rico here, we got Florida here. Red means unfavorable. This is for the trade winds. If you guys look at the Atlantic, the majority of the Atlantic right now, it's actually for a good portion of it, it's actually favorable conditions to neutral conditions. Now, the Western Caribbean, not as favorable. South of Jamaica, same thing with around the Bahamas and close to Bermuda, seems like not favorable. But then in the Gulf of Mexico and the Western Caribbean, over land, and then the Pacific actually showing favorable conditions. So right now the majority of the Gulf saying yes, it's favorable. But again, it's still early for a hurricane to form in the Gulf of Mexico. Not impossible, but it's still early. But you never know. So we keep an eye on everything. Of course, if anything forms, I will keep you guys posted. But right now, that's what we're looking at. Not a whole lot happening, but we want to keep an eye on the tropics because, stuff can happen. Stuff can form, and you definitely want to be keeping an eye on anything that forms. But this is it, guys. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you guys watching this video. Subscribe to my channel for future videos, especially now that we're getting closer to the hurricane season and storms are going to start forming. So keep you updated, of course, as anything develops. Share this video with families and friends. Like this, hit the like button. Subscribe. Any questions, any concerns, any comments, put them in the comment section below. And other than that, you guys stay safe. Have a good day. Thank you for watching.